Hello, and welcome to our next edition of Beating Cardiac Odds, a podcast all about sudden cardiac arrest. We've got a really special guest that we've got coming up here today. We're going to be talking with Jack Albanese. He is a second-year medical student at UMass Chan Medical School, and he has done something at UMass which is unbelievable to take us to the next level. First of all, Jack, welcome.
Thanks, Greg. Happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about you, yourself, what where you're going to school, further what I've just described, and what you want to do with your career, et cetera.
Sure. Again, hi everyone. My name is Jack. I'm from Medford, Massachusetts, which is just north of Boston. So I've been in the Boston area my whole life. For college, I went down to Connecticut, to Trinity College. That's in Hartford. After that, moved back to Boston, worked at Boston Children's Hospital for a few years. And then after that, came to University of Massachusetts Chan Medical School. That's in Worcester, about an hour from Boston. And like Greg said, I'm a second year medical student here now. Um, and I'm still exploring career options. But I think I want to work with kids, some type of pediatric medicine. Not exactly sure yet, but yeah, still looking around.
Excellent. Okay, so what we've got, let me kind of set the groundwork for what we're doing in Boston, or in Massachusetts rather. Cardiac Crusade is launching a big campaign in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and what we're doing is that we have a goal of mapping. Our goal is 1,500 AEDs to the map, so that we can increase the odds of someone surviving a sudden cardiac arrest. Because if you get AED locations on the map, that means 911 operators know where they are, and they can direct bystanders to go get the AED, which might be 50 feet away, but you don't know it when you're in the middle of trying to save someone's life. And if it takes 7-8 minutes, because Boston traffic can be a little heavy sometimes, if that takes 7, 8, 9 minutes or whatever for the ambulance to get there, and it takes someone else 90 seconds to get the AED, that's the difference between life and death. So we are in a big campaign to save lives in Massachusetts. So we start this campaign. We're starting in October 16th, and this is going to go until February 14th of next year. So we've got 4 months with that block of time to try to get 1,500 AEDs on the map. So I've been working with Tyler. I understand you know Tyler. So Tyler and I start working together and getting this going. And then he says, "Hey, I got this guy that I think would be really great to work with." So tell me how that all started with Tyler.
Yeah, of course. I met Tyler in college. We were college roommates my senior year. So we're very good friends. We go back a lot of years now. Tyler, such a great guy. I can't say enough good things about him.
Agree.
I mean, Greg, you've seen it, the work he's done
Uh,
with Cardiac
um,
Crusade.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when he kind of approached me and just said, explained the organization to me, told me about his involvement, and it was really just a passing conversation on campus, kind of, if you think you'd want to be involved, like, let me know, we can get you on the next meeting. So I expressed my interest to him, told him I mean, love to at least check it out. And then after I joined that first meeting, I was in for it, wanted to know more and kind of participate however I could.
Very good. And we've been on, we've had regular Zoom calls, and getting ramped up for the event in October. And so what we've got is you came up with an idea because of your connections at UMass. Tell me, because let me back up. In order to make this happen, it's not just you and me and Tyler and this, the Boston Shock Squad, which is kind of our little group, which I think is just so terrific. And it's not just us mapping AEDs. We need an army of volunteers to do all of that work. And if we get 100 volunteers, and everyone does 5, I mean, it just compounds on how much of an impact we can make in the community. So you had an idea at UMass. Tell me about that.
Sure thing. Yeah. Yeah. So at UMass, we have sort of a house system here among students. It's sort of like Harry Potter houses. When you get to the school, you're sorted into one of, I think it's 9 now, different houses on campus. They're really just random groups of students, but kind of to create a smaller community amongst the bigger medical school class. Um, and one of the fun community building type of things that we do here is a big house cup competition. So each of these campus houses, which are all named after like neighborhoods in Worcester and that sort of thing. Each of these houses competes against one another. So it could be fun things like a basketball tournament, a 3-on-3 tournament, or it could be more community engagement, volunteering type efforts. So the more students participate and the more um, that they do and are involved in the community or whatever the event is, the more points your house gets. And at the end of the year, this is all added up and a winner's declared. So it's kind of an internal competition within UMass, but it really has resonated with a lot of students and gets them, excited to be a part of the community here and kind of get involved in Worcester. So the idea that I had was really taking Cardiac Crusade and this whole mapping initiative to this House Cup kind of system that we have here and kind of integrate it and really see which house at UMass can map the most AEDs.
So and how many houses are there? How many?
I I think there are 9 now, and each has about I want to say 30-ish students per grade, maybe a little less than that. So we had an incoming class of first years here, which is total 230-ish medical students. So those 230 are split among 9 houses.
So school's back in session, and tell me how what has happened in since school is now back in. We've got the students are in these houses. How where are we now with getting everyone on board and rolling?
Yeah, yeah. So I'd say we're in a great place. We had some discussions back and forth whether kind of how we wanted to format this whole Cardiac Crusade initiative at UMass. We ended up applying to become a recognized student organization here. So that was a huge success for us. I got the organization approved here, so we're a campus partner of UMass Chan now, which is really exciting. Um, we have a faculty advisor in cardiology here who's going to help us out along the way. Um, and last week we had our student involvement fair, which is really targeted at a lot of the first year medical students since they're new to campus and want to get involved in so many different things. So I worked our table at the involvement fair with Thomas, who's another medical student here that's been really involved with Cardiac Crusade. And we had a sign up sheet. We have 50 mostly first year students signed up, which is just great traction, I think. And in the coming week, hopefully, we're going to have some type of introductory meeting for the group and kind of explain this further instead of just the 5-minute passing conversation we were able to do at the involvement fair, and really ramp things up from there.
That's amazing. So you'll have your meeting, and the idea is to get as many volunteers signed up for the training. So to become a Cardiac Crusade volunteer, you must go through training, and it's a free 20-minute online. Just go to cardiaccrusade.org/Boston, and there's a button there for training or get certified, so you can become a verifier. After you take the 20-minute course, you just submit your information, and usually within a day, we'll come back and you've got the ability to not just identify, because anyone can identify an AED location. However, because this involves life and death situations, you want to make sure that it's actually verified. So that's why you have to go through the training, just to make sure that you're accurately labeling it, they're taking the picture the right way, and making the right connections into the app. That is then your local 911 systems can connect via API into our database partner, which is PulsePoint, and that way the 911 operators know where they are. So if you become a verifier, that instantly becomes available to 911 operators. So yes, go through the training, get signed up, get rolling, And one of the things we are going to have is a leadership board, a leaderboard that's going to show, I don't know, the top 10, top 20 or something, and we'll update it on a weekly basis. But it's going to be it's great fun competition. So okay, anything more on the what you're doing at UMass? Because I want to talk a little bit about what you and Tyler did at Northeastern.
Yeah, sure. Trying to think that's pretty much the extent at UMass. I mean, we've had some ideas moving forward just about ways to get students involved. We really want to make this as flexible for people as possible. So we've been brainstorming um, really involvement is whatever you want it to be. If you want to map AEDs while you're out doing your daily routine at a grocery store or at a cafe and you see one, or you want to ask a manager or employee, do it that way. If you want to join one of what we're hoping to set up would be like UMass mapping days, where we send small groups of, 3 to 5 people out together, and you can kind of do it in a group setting for an hour or two here and there. Um, Really just creating that flexibility to do it with whoever you want, however much you want, without making it seem like a burden, because it's really not. It's an easy thing to do to really make a difference.
It really is, because there are a lot of volunteer opportunities to go clean up the park, and you put on your waders or dirty clothes, and you get muddy, and there's here, literally you're just kind of walking around the your neighborhood, the city, and taking pictures of an AED and just making sure it's properly labeled. It really is that easy. You can do it morning, afternoon, night, weekdays, weekends. I mean, really, it's like the perfect volunteer opportunity that someone can do. And the group. Oh, and I love what you just said about the how'd you put it? The AED mapping days.
Yeah, yeah, hoping to do some type of mapping days, really just to get students out there together, and you can learn from one another and kind of explore a city that a lot of people here are new to together. So it just seems like another option that some people might prefer over others. So just really trying to accommodate everybody.
And I got to tell you, and we'll go to Northeast University. Is that the right
Yeah.
term? Right,
Yep.
Northeast University. Um, that we've had incredible success. So Massachusetts, Boston, Massachusetts is really our second campaign. Our first one was in Western New York, in Buffalo area, and we had really great success with the Jacobs School of Medicine. Those students at that, that's why we're kind of sticking with students, college students, and so we've had incredible success. Because yes, you're busy doing your school stuff and all the activities, but you kind of have generally there's some time in there, that you can do this volunteer work. We also, a little side note, in a conversation with a high school health teacher, and he's not just the teacher at this one little class at this one school. He is involved with teaching health to high school age students throughout the whole area, and so he's a big part of what we're doing. And now we're kind of looking into working with high school students. So I'm excited to see how that opportunity can come out. All right, tell me in a nutshell what you and Tyler did at Northeast University.
Oh yeah. So Tyler and I went to Northeastern. They had um, it was similar. It was a student involvement fair, but it was largely focused on inviting nonprofits to talk about their work to the students. So it was set up great. It was an outdoor fair, and it was in an area where all the students had to walk by after class. So there was a lot of traction there. Um, and it really gave us an opportunity to spread the word about Cardiac Crusade to a pretty large undergraduate campus in Boston, right in the heart of the city. So, um,
Tell me
um,
some of the feedback that you got from that, some of the interactions that you had.
yeah, yeah. We had some really interesting students come up to us, a lot of pre-med, pre-health students who wanted a way to, um, you know, get involved in their community, but still kind of stay within the realm of health sciences or public health type efforts. We had one student come up to us who had a very personal connection to somebody who's a sudden cardiac arrest survivor. So he had a totally different motivation for getting involved. It really hit close to home for him. Um, and I think that just goes to show like there's a wide diversity of people who want to be involved in this group, whether it's because you're interested in the science of it, because you're interested in public health efforts, whether it's because you have a family connection. So we kind of heard all of those perspectives. We also talked to a teacher, kind of similar to the teacher that you were talking about, Greg. He asked us if we would do any type of, educational opportunities just to really talk to his students who were like 13 to 18 years old, just about cardiac arrest, the use of AEDs. Because one thing that he thought we were um, teaching people was how to use an AED because it's difficult and nobody knows how to. And that was kind of a great opportunity for us to then become an educational group and say, actually, these are very easy to use. You shouldn't be afraid of it. And the more people that know that, the more people that feel comfortable using it. And again, the more potential to save a life.
And that's one thing about the AEDs. They are so simple to use. Literally anyone old enough to read, I guess, if I don't want to put an age on it, but let's say you're, 10 or something, it's literally open it up and it tells you what to do. Hit the on button, put the pad here, put the pad here. They, remove all clothing up, from the waist up, put a pad here, put a pad here. Don't touch the patient, analyzing heart rhythm. So you just don't touch the patient. And if it says shock, it'll shock it. Sometimes you do need some AEDs require you to push a button, some don't, and that's it. The thing is that it won't shock someone if a shock will not help them. So there's actually I can't remember where I heard this, but there was a CPR trainer had a classroom of people, and that's the common thing. They don't want to hurt anyone. Well, it's like they're already dead, dead because they're not breathing, their heart's not beating. You need to do whatever it takes, even using CPR, and break their ribs, so you can get that, because you're acting as the heart beating when you're doing compressions, but it doesn't restart the heart. The only thing that will restart the heart is a shock from an AED. So this CPR instructor proved that don't be afraid of the shock, because she put a pad on a live AED, and she pushed the shock button and nothing happened because her heart was fine, and her heart did not need a shock. So that was a very dramatic way of proving it. Is like, don't be afraid to use something. And one more thing on that note is Brandon Guess is the first paramedic on the scene and I haven't mentioned this in this interview yet. I'm involved because my wife survived a sudden cardiac arrest. She collapsed within 45 she collapsed. She was not breathing, no heartbeat, and within 45 seconds she was getting CPR. Within the 2 minutes, she got the first of two shocks, brought her back, and that's why that saved her life. And she's part of the 10% club of people who have a sudden cardiac arrest that live. 90% die, which is why our mission is so important. So Brandon Guest, the paramedic first on the scene, he was his comment, because I talked to him afterwards. He was like, he comes up to the scene and there's four people around. There's twin girls and then the athletic trainer and the coach who saved her life. And they had the AED out. They had everything was, she had the shock, the pads on, and they were doing something where Brandon, the paramedic, said he cannot tell you how many times they roll up on a scene and there's a lifeless body laying there and nobody's doing anything. Do something, because doing nothing is just the worst thing you can do. Do something, even if it's not perfect. I'm going to take a little side note on here. Yes, I'm a co-survivor, meaning my spouse survived a sudden cardiac arrest, but I'm also a first responder. Not in a paramedic sense, but I finished a hockey game at my local rink. I play old man hockey. Someone ran in and said, "Hey, is there a doctor here?" Someone collapsed, and so I ran out in my socks onto the ice. A player collapsed, and and he was not breathing. And so, I started compressions. I did compressions for 3 minutes. Um, and one of the, and I got to tell you, when I was doing compressions, I could feel and hear his ribs crack and break. And I knew I was doing it the right way. Meaning I was going down into his chest enough to make a difference. And he lived. So, and it's not just because of me, because there's a whole series, there's a chain of events and chain of things that people did. If that guy didn't run in to get, hey, is there a doctor in the house kind of thing? Who knows? If the guys on the ice didn't do things before I got there for 2.5 minutes, there's a lot of things. I'm just one link in that chain, but it takes the whole thing to make that happen. But one of the things I wish I would have learned and I wish I would have done, I'm not blaming myself because, I did the best I could. The guy had a hairy chest. So, after I finished doing compressions, we had the pads on, but the problem is that the pads, if this was a pad, on his chest, it was kind of floating around. It wasn't making direct skin to skin contact because the guy had a hairy chest. So it wasn't making direct contact. Plus, he was sweaty from playing the hockey game. And we took off everything from the waist up, his jersey and shoulder pads and all that. And I'm doing that for 3 minutes. This Beth, friend of mine, we're still connected. She's a trained professional. She's a medical professional, and she came in and she hip checked me out of the way as we have fun with that. And she's now doing chest compressions. And I've got this little razor and I'm trying to shave his hair. I've cut up her knuckles and little war wounds on that one. Just to get the ability to put the pad on his chest. There were, in that facility, there are 2 sheets of ice, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 AEDs in that one building. It's a relatively small building, which is amazing. I didn't think about it until someone mentioned it afterwards. I could have just easily gotten a pad from one of the other AEDs, tear it off, put it on his chest, and rip it off with the hair. Didn't think about it. And because it never, while I was there with him, it didn't shock him. However, when the ambulance showed up and the paramedics were there, they did get him shocked. So anyway, he lived. That's the bottom line. So anyway, left turn on that story, but it's all applicable to what we're talking about and why you need to take action.
Right. It is applicable. And it kind of like what you were saying with the emergency responder. So many times they get to a scene and nothing has been done and there's a lifeless body there. I really do think that's people want to help, but when you're that nervous about messing something up or causing more harm, you get very hesitant and reserved, and you really don't want to make a bad situation even worse. And that's where I think Cardiac Crusade has so much potential with the educational piece of it. It's another thing we're trying to do here at UMass is just go out to schools. It could be anybody, high schoolers, college students, even adults in the community, and just talk to them. The school here already does a lot of CPR trainings in the community, so we're trying to latch on with those groups. CPR will be taught at these events, and then also then kind of have a station that's like, this is an AED, like this is a training one, touch it, see how to use it, don't be afraid of it. And the more people that feel empowered, the better for anybody who might go down with a cardiac arrest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I wanted to get you on so we can talk about, what you're doing with the student organizations, because what you did was, with that effort, you now have multiple dozens, whatever the big number is. So that one effort did this. So what I'm looking for are other people to take a similar type of initiative, and they will do the same thing, because it's truly getting an army of volunteers that will make a difference and raise the survival rates from sudden cardiac arrest in Massachusetts. So anything else you want to say?
That's a kind of going off what you just mentioned there. That's
Yeah.
another thing that I talked a lot with students about at Northeastern. Basically, was that I am someone who was basically in your shoes. I was told about this by a friend. I didn't have some inside connection to Cardiac Crusade or anything. It was just mentioned to me in passing. I learned more about it and wanted to get involved. So there's no reason a Northeastern student or any student that was talking to me or listening to this podcast um, hears about this, says, I kind of want a leadership role at my school in some kind of organization. I like this group's mission, and it's like, join us. You can make a group at your school. You can, take this and really run with it and do whatever you want with it. The group has a great foundation that I think students can build off pretty easily. Um, the flow is pretty natural. So, I mean, where we've gotten to here at UMass is, again, just more framework for other students, other schools to use to just build our presence in Massachusetts.
Love it. Love it. All right. Love it. Okay, I can't wait to see you on October 16th in Boston. The date is hard in my calendar. Julie and I will be there. She is confirmed. By the way, she's now a flight attendant for American Airlines, and she just got her October schedule confirmed off. And I'm like, even if you didn't confirmed off, you got to find a way to get off. So yeah, she and I will both be there, and we cannot wait to make that all happen.
That
Awesome.
is awesome. I can't wait to meet you in person, Greg. It's
I
been so
know.
nice
It's like we've
working with
had
you and the group. Yeah.
countless. I'm a hugger. Just letting you know. I've got my mom's Latin side of me is you're a hugger. So you just be prepared for that. That and oh, we'll get a couple margaritas in us too. So we'll have fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun night, the
All right,
16th. Yeah.
Jack, you're the best in the world. I appreciate coming on, and
Yeah.
can't wait to see you on the 16th. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining
Yeah, thanks
us.
for having me, Greg.
You bet.
Yeah.